Yo, what's up guys? It's your boy Nitrostorm here. Welcome back to Revive the Witch. So, this will essentially be a generalized guide to Path Not Taken and how to handle this game mode. So, this game mode is known to be pretty challenging in terms of trying to get the 35k mark to get the frame. And so, what's highly recommended is that when you're using characters for Path Not Taken, it's highly recommended that you would raise them to passive level 2 for your main DPS. And then if the support has a good passive, you would try and aim for passive level 2 as well. So this is definitely costly. Ascent 4 also recommended for the higher stats to deal more damage and take less damage. But without further ado, let's get right into it. So first things first, as you can see, there's something called weekly and daily for Path Not Taken. So Path Not Taken started yesterday, which they only released the weekly stage, Priestess Flare, and today they released the first daily, which is the Captain of the Elite Chivalric Order. Now what that means is that for every Path Not Taken, which occurs every 2 weeks, you will get one weekly stage to try and get the highest score as possible, as well as 6 dailies that you will have to complete on that day and get as high of a score as possible. Now that's out of the way, let's get right into trying to tackle this. So first things first, as you can see, it says here the stamina cost is 0, but that is only for a limited number of tries. Now after you surpass that number of tries, the stamina cost will change to 10, so just keep that in mind when doing Path Not Taken. Now, the first thing you would normally do for Path Not Taken, in my opinion, is that the best thing to do is first max out everything, and what you don't max out or what you don't select are the time modifiers. So what this does, it will give you a benchmark on how your best team performs when it comes to fighting this enemy, and if you can improve it through just adding one of these, or if you can't do that at all, then you'll just leave it at this for now, and then later on, once you see other people's teams, you can use that as reference into making your own team and then perhaps trying to get a better score. So we'll go ahead and do this, and then you go to edit team and then try and build a good team for this. Firstly, let me check my auto settings. So default mode is good. So in this case, we'll just go for a physical build with Salanya as well as Catherine. So just double check that they have a decent build. So we'll go with this, give her this ring, and then go to Salanya, give her this ring, and let's give her a better piece of armor, the one that gives more attack, just so we don't die. And last but not least, we have Tonel, who is ready. So as you can see what I did here, I just set it up so that we still get at least 10% stat boost by having Brimstone element up front, but then we'll have our frontliner be defeated right away for space for Tonel to come. And so this might take a while, so I'm probably going to skip to the end of the fight, which will be in a moment. So, you know, just full auto, and then pretty much just leave it. And then at the end, you will see how far we've gone if we lose, or how long it took if we win. So I'll be right back. Okay, so hopefully you guys didn't take as long as I did. I mean, so as you can see from the time, we're clearly unable to do the 180 seconds thing. But what it does, it at least tells you a lot of things, right? First things first, the comp that I use must be pretty bad, right? I'm not dealing enough DPS. The second thing that it'll let you know is that you're able to survive. And then the third thing that it lets you know is that your DPS might not be raised enough. And so, if you take a look at my comp anyway, as you can see, my Salanya is actually, you know, kind of okay in terms of stats, but in terms of skill, she's only passive level 1. My Catherine is also only passive level 1. And Tonel's only one that's passive level 2. which is pretty useful. So if I didn't have Toenail passive level 2, then this would have taken much longer. And I think another thing that it would let us know is perhaps the fairy might be more resistant to physical damage than it is to magical damage. But yeah, so after you do that first fight, it essentially lets you know if you're able to improve your time or not. And in my case, unfortunately, I can't at the moment, right? So let's say you're in the same boat as me. What you would do is that you go to ranking list and essentially take a look at what the others have done. So in this case, as you can see, a lot of them have used Sasivi, and then we have a few cases where they used no Sasivi. One used Yui and Metamorphosis, and the other one used Kepler and Metamorphosis. So as you can see, Kepler is already being used because of that 2-cost skill. But yeah, in terms of that, you would then see if you're able to, you know, try to replicate that team and see how they're able to get that score. So in our case, they managed to get 6.6k, right? And then that could be done in a few ways, right? The first way would be to do that, right? Add a time limit, 108 seconds. So this is one of the things that they probably have done. Another case would be doing this, right? Clear combat in 90 seconds, and then either reducing... No, I think that they do that, and then they reduce physical defense. And no, they didn't. They didn't do that for sure. What they did instead is that they did this, probably. Reducing the debuff, but increasing the clear combat time limit. And then the last thing they could have done, perhaps, is clear it in 30 seconds and then removing this. So the physical defense is now like debuffed. It's nerfed. The physical defense buff is now being nerfed. The attack reduction is also nerfed, but the clear combat time has been increased drastically. So as you can see, this is how you would try to play around with the total score to see what kind of settings they put in order to get this clear score. So from the looks of it, it's probably pretty difficult to complete anyway to get the 6.6k score, but it's easy to tell as well by the time limit. So for example, these guys around the top 10 mark, they did the under 90 seconds bit whilst reducing the attack nerf. And then for those that cleared it above 90 seconds but less than 180 seconds, they did the everything maxed but adding a 180 second time limit. But yeah, so that's how you would go around it. And then if your team can't get any better than that, then for now just leave it as it is. Since it's a weekly enemy, you can wait until your team is upgraded a little bit more, and then you can go try again. Same thing for the daily, but this time it's a bit more specific because they won't have every single debuff selection. So in this case, as you can see, we still have the time modifications. It'll stay there forever. But if we max everything first and find out what debuffs they are, we can see that the enemy will be buffing its own physical defense, but it didn't buff the magical defense. So what this does is essentially it tells you to use magical based DPS and then clearing it like that. Now another thing that they like to put is reduce all the energy recovery speed, which can be kind of detrimental in terms of clearing quickly. So what you could do is you can do this to get 4k score rather than everything maxed but 3.9k. So firstly, we'll do it like this, no time limit. No, we'll do this first just to see if we can clear, because it'll be faster clear if we can do it. So you do all of that to get 4k, and then now we need to set a magical DPS based team. So this is an example of a magic based one. Now, in order to fix this, I should probably change it like that so you can get a 10% stat boost, and then fix your characters. So I'll go ahead and quickly change their gear. Alright, so everyone is set up. So I'll just quickly show them. So my Doran is passive level 2, which is pretty nice. And then we've got Ushpia, only passive level 1. And then Tonel, who's passive level 2. So now we'll go ahead and just try this. We won't turn on auto until the frontliner is gone. Bang, start auto. Now, normally I would go for free auto and then manually change things and stuff, but this should be okay. Now we're just gonna wait and see. So I'll come back to you guys once the fight is nearly over, or if I've lost. Alright, so as you can see, the combat time does tell us quite a few things as well. So first things first, we did manage to complete the things that we gave ourselves, so we got the 4,000 points. But now we take a look at the results. So in this example, we finished it in 110 seconds, and the time threshold that we needed to do was under 180. So we know that it's closer to 90 than it is 180, so you have a few options here. So what I would do personally is that I would go back, do the same limitations, but change from 180 to 90, but then I would play on free mode auto or manual, and then play it like that. Try to maximize my DPS. So in this case, for this example, I would try to maximize my S2s on my Ushpia, and using S1 on my Doran to get the increased damage taken as well as increasing crit chance. And then during Arcana Burst, I would occasionally swap to the second skill on Doran just so we get some attack and crit rate boost, you know, and then rotate like that. And then technically, you know, in terms of on paper, I should be able to do it properly. And then I think that's about it, you know, for the simplified generalized guide for Path Not Taken. Now, the last thing that I would like to tell you is that the most important thing to do for Path Not Taken is to ensure to try and get as high as possible of a score you can get on the dailies, because once the day resets, this daily is gone until, like, that's it, the daily is gone. So it's kind of, I guess, hindering in that sense, where you have to do the daily on that day in order to try and get the highest score possible. But yeah, you know, you have to do it like that. And in terms of the weekly, you can lay back on it a little bit, and then just don't forget to try and improve the score if you can near the end of Path Not Taken. And in terms of daily, try and get as high as possible. If you're not sure what to do, be sure to check out the rankings to see what other people have used. So as you can see, they've used a similar thing to what I did using Tonel and Doran, followed by a magical DPS. So in this case, they used Maya, which I don't currently have upgraded, which is why I went for Ushpia. But if you had Maya, for example, you can easily get a higher score as she debuffs the enemy's magical defense further. But yeah, the limitations for the dailies will change depending on the boss. And so maybe the next day they increase their own magical defense, you have to use physical DPS. So that's about it for Path Not Taken. So in terms of like a summary, the weekly will stay throughout the event. The dailies will only appear for one day and then disappear for the rest. It will be replaced by a new daily. So ensure you get as high of a score as possible. When it comes to preparing for Path Not Taken, like for example during cooldown periods, to prepare for Path Not Taken, be sure to have a raised magical DPS. Highly recommend Maya. And raise a physical DPS, I would highly recommend either Solania or Yui, or any other physical DPS. In this case, for example, Akasha, if you've got her exclusive weapon, or maybe even Kapla, who is the most recent banner character, as she has a low cost first skill that has high multiplier. So yeah, that's about it for path not taken. Hopefully you found this useful. If you guys got any more questions in terms of handling path not taken, do let me know down in the comments below, and I'll be sure to respond. If you want me to make more path not taken videos, like for example like a quick guide on the new daily, you can let me know. It's been your boy Nitrostorm. I'll see you guys in the next stream or video. Peace.